Your feet are lying to you, not with words, but with the messages they send every single day. And unfortunately, a lot of these messages are misleading. Believing them can turn a small, manageable problem into a much bigger one. My name is Dr. Andrew Schneider, and I'm a podiatrist in Houston, Texas. In today's video, I'm going to expose the 5 biggest lies your feet tell you and what they're actually trying to say. Here's why this matters. We normalize pain. Feet work hard every single day, walking, standing, running, absorbing shock with every single step. So most people assume soreness is just part of life. It's easy to brush it off, it's easy to explain away, and your body is incredibly good at adapting. You compensate without even realizing it. Maybe you start shifting your weight slightly to one side. Maybe you change the way that you walk without even noticing. Your body is remarkably skilled at finding workarounds. But here's the problem with that. By the time the pain becomes severe enough that you can't ignore it anymore, the underlying issue has often been developing for months, sometimes even years. What seems like a sudden problem is very rarely sudden at all. So let's get into it. These are the 5 lies your feet tell you, and more importantly, what they're actually trying to communicate. Before I get into these 5 lies, if you're finding this helpful, take a second to hit the like button, drop a comment letting me know which of these sound familiar, and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. It genuinely helps other people find this information when they need it most. Lie number 1, it'll go away. This is the very first lie that almost everyone tells themselves. Why? Because many aches genuinely do improve temporarily. You wake up, it feels a little better, and you convince yourself that a little rest is all it's going to take. Maybe you need to take a day or 2 off from the gym. Maybe you switch shoes for a week, and sure enough, the pain seems to fade, at least for a little while. Here's the truth. Some injuries do heal on their own, but many of the most common foot conditions don't just resolve with time. I'm talking about things like plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendonitis, bunions, and Morton's neuroma. These aren't the kind of issues that quietly disappear if you simply wait long enough. In fact, many of these conditions are progressive, meaning they tend to get worse, not better, without some kind of intervention. I see this pattern consistently in my office. A patient will tell me that the pain started 8 months ago, sometimes even further back. They noticed it, it bothered them for a week or two, and then it seemed to calm down. So they moved on with their life. It never actually went away. It became background noise. And then one day it flared up again, and this time worse than before. And that's when they finally decide to come in. Waiting often makes treatment harder, not easier. Small problems become chronic problems. Chronic problems take longer to treat and often require more aggressive intervention than if they've been caught early. And when you're dealing with pain, you naturally start compensating for it, shifting your gait, favoring one side, avoiding certain movements. That compensation creates brand new problems somewhere else in your body. I've seen people come in with hip pain or lower back pain that after some investigation actually traces back to a foot issue they've been quietly living with for over a year. So here's what you should actually do. Watch for pain that lasts longer than a few weeks. That's your signal. If it's still there after 2, 3, 4 weeks, that's not something just to wait out any longer. Don't wait for it to become unbearable. Seek an evaluation before the condition becomes chronic. The earlier we catch something, the simpler the treatment tends to be. Lie number 2, it's just old age. This one I hear constantly, and I understand why. I'm getting older, everyone's feet hurt at this point. What do you expect? I'm not 25 anymore. It's a common belief that people barely question it anymore. It's almost become an accepted part of getting older. The same way people expect their knees to creak or their back to tighten up, but here's the truth. Age does change your feet. That part is absolutely real, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. What's not true is that age should automatically mean pain. Those are 2 very different things. Let's talk about some of the actual age-related changes that happen. There's fat pad atrophy, which is the natural thinning of the cushioning on the bottom of your foot over time. That padding that used to protect your heel and the ball of your foot gradually decreases. There's arthritis, which can affect the joint in your feet, just like it can affect the knees or your hands. There's tendon degeneration, where tendons that have been used every single day for decades start to wear down. There's general loss of flexibility that comes with aging tissue. These are real physical changes that happen over time. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we have some miracle fountain of youth for your feet. We don't. But here's the encouraging news. Most age-related foot problems are treatable. The goal for most of my patients isn't to slow down, it's to stay active, to keep doing the things they love to do, whether that's walking with their grandkids, playing golf, or being on their feet comfortably throughout the day. Age is not a life sentence for foot pain. If you've been assuming your foot pain is just something that you have to live with because of your age, I'd encourage you to reconsider that. There's very likely something we can do to help. Line number 3, I just need softer shoes. This one makes a lot of intuitive sense and I understand the logic. Softer shoes reduce the impact when you walk, so they feel good, at least in the short term. You put them on, your feet feel cushioned and comfortable, and it seems like problem solved. But here's the truth. Comfort isn't always correction. In fact, the wrong shoe can actually increase stress on your feet, even if it feels soft and plush the moment you put it on. A shoe that lacks the right support for your specific foot type can allow your foot to move in ways that create more strain, not less, even though it feels comfortable initially. The right shoe really depends on your foot type, and this is something a lot of people simply don't know about their own feet. If you have flat feet, you'll usually benefit from a stability shoe or a motion control shoe, something that helps prevent your foot from rolling too far inward as you walk. If you have neutral feet, a stability shoe is often your best option as well, providing a balance of support and cushioning. And if you have high arches, you typically need something neutral and well cushioned, because your foot doesn't absorb shock as efficiently on its own. And a rigid, overly structured shoe can actually work against you. Now, I want to be clear, sometimes shoes alone aren't enough, even the right ones. That's when orthotics come into play, whether it's an over-the-counter insole or something custom-made for your foot. Physical therapy can also be a critical piece, especially if there are muscular imbalances contributing to the problem. And sometimes we need to treat the underlying condition directly, whether that's inflammation, a structural issue, or something else entirely. Don't assume that a softer shoe is solving the actual problem. It might be masking discomfort temporarily while the underlying issue continues. I've had patients cycle through 5, 6, 7 pairs of comfortable shoes over the course of a year and never get real relief, simply because no one addressed what was actually happening in their foot mechanics. Line number 4, I'll rest it next week. I understand why we delay. Busy schedules, an upcoming race, a vacation, work responsibilities, there's always a reason to push it off one more week. Maybe you have a big trip planned and you don't want to slow down now. Maybe you're training for something important and stopping feels like giving up progress. There's always a reason, and I get it. But here's the truth. Injured tissue doesn't care about your calendar. It doesn't know you have a wedding to attend or a marathon in 6 weeks. Tissue heals on its own timeline, and pushing through pain doesn't speed that up. It usually slows it down. This is how the cycle of chronic injury begins, and I see the cycle constantly. The pain improves slightly after a day or two of reduced activity. You feel encouraged, so you increase your activity again, maybe even push a little harder to make up for lost time. The pain comes back, sometimes worse than before. You back off again, just enough to take the edge off, and the tissue slowly deteriorates, a little more each time the cycle repeats. Weeks turn into months, and what could have been resolved with short periods of proper rest and treatment has now become a much more stubborn chronic issue. So how do you know the difference between a normal soreness and an actual injury? This distinction matters a lot. Normal soreness usually improves quickly, within a day or two. It doesn't tend to change how you move. Injury pain, on the other hand, returns consistently. It shows up again and again despite rest. It starts to change the way that you walk. You might notice yourself limping slightly, favoring one leg, or avoiding certain movements altogether. If you notice that pattern, that's a sign that it's more than just soreness, and it deserves real attention, rather than putting off another week. Lie number 5, everyone's feet hurt. This might be the biggest lie of all, because It's one we hear from other people, not just ourselves. It's reinforced constantly by people around us. Pain has become completely normalized in our culture, especially around foot pain. Friends compare foot pain like it's some kind of shared badge of honor. Oh, my feet are killing me too. Family members expect it as they get older. Treating it is just an inevitable part of the aging process. Society treats it as simply unavoidable, something you're just supposed to accept and push through. But here's the truth. Healthy feet shouldn't hurt every single day. Pain isn't supposed to be your baseline. If you're waking up every morning already anticipating discomfort or dreading being on your feet by the end of the day, that's not normal, no matter how many people around you say the same thing. Pain is information. Your body is asking for help, sending you a signal that sometimes isn't functioning the way it should. And when we ignore that message, simply because everyone around us seems to be dealing with the same thing, we ignore a warning sign that actually meant to protect us. Just because a problem is common doesn't mean it's supposed to be there. So what are your feet really trying to tell you underneath all these lies? Pain isn't the enemy here. It's an early warning system doing exactly what it's designed to do. And early treatment is almost always easier than treatment down the road. It means simpler treatments, faster recovery, and much better long-term outcomes overall. So before we wrap up, I want you to ask yourself 5 honest questions. Has this lasted more than a few weeks? Is this changing how you walk? Have you stopped doing activities you actually enjoy because of it? Are you relying on medication just to get through your day and stay active? And are you simply hoping it disappears on its own without actually doing anything about it? If you answered yes to even one of these questions, don't believe everything your feet are telling you. Listen to the pain and make sure you're interpreting the message correctly. Most foot problems are far easier to treat early than they are once they've been ignored for months or years. The difference in your recovery can be significant. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Please like the video and share it on social media. Also, please be sure to subscribe to the channel to ensure you don't miss another video. If your feet have been telling you one of these 5 lies, don't wait for it to get worse. Schedule an evaluation before a small problem turns into a much bigger one. The link to book an appointment is right in the description below. And before you go, let me know in the comments which lie you've been telling yourself. I read every single one. I respond when I can. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.